Cloud. This is run yours. And let's see here. So let's get this going here. Slideshow from the beginning. Okay, awesome, awesome. Can you guys still, well, I can't ask you really that if I can't hear you, huh? Let's see here. And we're gonna put this in a different mode. Escape. We're gonna put this in a different mode right quick. Hold on one second. There we go. That's what it is. Okay. I was gonna say, I gotta share everything with you if you're gonna see it. There we go. Okay, perfect. So now we'll get started. We are going good. All right. Welcome, welcome.
We are so excited to be with you this afternoon and appreciate all of you joining us. And as you know, folks who are on the phone and in environments where you can't really plug into this in any way, we just appreciate that you've carved out a space for yourself to join us. And so thank you all for being here. We're going to make good use of our time together. We have, as always, a pretty aggressive agenda, and you know, our purpose here today is just to invite local community leaders to work with us to advance the Strong Communities movement through becoming a certified facilitator. And we have truly just been blessed by the growth of this movement and by the people that we're attracting. Wow.
Many of them on the call.
Many of them on the call, that's right.
So if you're watching the video, some of those faces you see, they know who we are already.
So we appreciate all of you being here. And if we do our job well today, you'll leave this call with all your questions answered. And you'll understand what the Strong Communities movement is. Some of you have in-depth knowledge. Some of you, this is your first exposure to it. And you'll be excited about the possibility of aligning yourself with this incredible trajectory that we're on in serving communities through their leaders. So the way that we'll approach this today is we'll first lightly introduce what Strong Communities is all about. And for some of you, we know that you've had no exposure whatsoever to the Strengths movement. And so we'll give you just a little bit of information about that. And then beyond that, we want to talk about the timing of what's going on with this movement. And certainly we want to talk about what's in it for you. You're on this call today because you see an opportunity for yourself. And so we want to share with you the compensation structure that we've put in place and how we honor our facilitators. And then we'll give you some insights as to how you can get started on this journey with us. So again, thanks for being here, and we're going to move into our
I do want to say thank you to the facilitators who invited somebody to be here today, because we know, I mean, we don't do a lot of advertising. It's really word of mouth and the communities that have embraced this movement, but also the current facilitators. We want to thank all of you, and a shout out to you guys, because that just means you see the meaning in it, the mission in it as well, and we appreciate you. So anyway.
Yeah, thank you, Sherry. So, so some of you know this, some of this will be your first introduction to this, but Sherry and I have a practice, and in that we start every meeting, every workshop with what we refer to as a POM, which is an acronym for Purpose, Outcomes, and Methods. And so the purpose of our Strong Communities movement is truly to empower community leaders with this innovative approach that leads to better retention of people in the community and businesses in the community, and results in a stronger workforce, not to mention the economic prosperity associated with it and the cultural aspects. So that's why we're invested in this movement. The outcomes that we're seeing are significantly accelerated community engagement. It's amazing what happens when you bring a group of leaders to the table and you offer a common language to them. And so we're seeing increased employee engagement. We're seeing increased retention. We're seeing emotional intelligence, an awareness of emotional intelligence and the impact that it can have. The cohesion of communities is expanding very rapidly, and this has such an element of personal and professional and leadership development that we're seeing those as outcomes as well. So, and the way that we advance this movement is really very, very simple. We just invite people, individuals or teams or community leaders or people who are launching initiatives in their communities to address some of the hard-hitting issues. The educational system, we're working with faith-based organizations, and it's really just an infinite number of applications for it. So that's how we do that, is by introducing a workshop format called Strong Communities that's a part of our Strengths Genius curriculum. So this whole strengths conversation, just in a nutshell, there's over 50 years of research and statistical validation that's been done through the Gallup organization as a result of Dr. Donald Clifton's initial research. And what this body of research tells us is that people who focus on their strengths, what they do instinctively well, are 3 times more likely to enjoy their life, to be fulfilled, to report an excellent quality of life, and 6 times more engaged in their professions. So, you know, I can tell you that that engagement is the biggest topic of conversation that we hear both in corporate organizations and in communities. The question is always, how do we engage our members, our residents, our employees, etc. Big conversation in the faith community as well these days. So engagement is a huge topic, and one that this program addresses beautifully. So for those of you who have not seen the current employee engagement stats in the U.S., they are a bit sobering. Only 30% of the workforce shows up with their A game, you know, invested and committed to the outcomes of the organization. Over half of our population is pretty much checked out at work, and we've all worked with those folks that, you know, that they come in and they do what they have to do, but there's no real passion behind their efforts, and are typically the first out the door at 5 p.m. or whatever closing time is. And then 18% or so of the workforce is truly just unhappy, so dissatisfied that they can undermine efforts of others. And
they're rolling the boat the opposite way.
Absolutely, that's exactly right. So, so when we consider the opportunity associated with engaging industry, engaging workforce development, the impact can be monumental for organizations of all kinds, and certainly for people. I can tell you that getting my results from this assessment that we utilize as the foundation of our work, the Clifton Strengths Finder assessment, was the most liberating thing I've ever done in my life. And some of you may have just been in your sweet spot of life throughout your entire life and throughout your entire career. I'm a happy girl. You know, I tend to be a glass half full, and I always enjoy what I do. But I'll tell you that until I had these results, I struggled with self-doubt in ways that are indescribable. Spent most of my career in technology, and was successful, but never felt like I measured up. Was always doubting, you know.
If I can attest, she's not the IT girl, right? Like, she's not the IT girl. When you meet her, you'll be like, you were in IT.
Well, lots of lovely, lots of wonderful, talented people in that industry. But I felt like a misfit, candidly. I just never felt like I was going to get it right, and really was like the poster child for the imposter syndrome, because I was so convinced that they were going to figure out that I didn't know what I was doing, and that I was going to be ousted. So when I got these results, I did a look back on my entire career, and it was like, oh my goodness, this is the reason that I have been fulfilled, even when I was struggling with whether I was good enough to do what I was doing. because I lead with strategic, and strategic has all kinds of nicknames. You know, a couple of them that I enjoy and appreciate personally are MapQuest of the Mind, Mullet Brain. That's my favorite because there's always a conversation of what if and if then going on in the back of my mind, even though I may be all business in the front. And strategic really afforded me the capacity to look at lots of information and lots of possibilities and sort through it, and with a mind toward efficiency and moving forward with the best source of best use of resources. So I began to appreciate, oh my goodness, that's why I survived and somewhat thrived in the technology arena, was in large part due to that. Connectedness is my second theme, and connectedness for me is about just knowing that we are all connected, and that everything that happens, every word that I speak has a ripple effect. So I'm very, very, very conscious of my words, my language, etc., and how everything's connected, all of the disparate parts. WOO is my number 3, which is an acronym for winning others over. And I truly do love people. Sherry can attest. It's hard today. I was connecting with some people at a workshop.
We did a workshop this morning. We're at a chamber office right now in another town.
And it's such a privilege that we got to kick off the inaugural program for the inaugural class of Leadership Portland in Tennessee. But I was so busy connecting with people that I was like, where's Sherry? She was in the car with the car running, waiting for me to get finished connecting with folks. So it serves me well, and really helped me in the technology arena. You know, all of these things helped me in technology. Empathy in particular, I worked with an organization that was a partnership, and it was very siloed geographically, and so I was able to really understand how different people felt, their differing perspectives, to really feel what they felt about the issues that were facing us as we moved forward. So, and then finally, communication. And words are important to me. Love words and love sharing stories, and love explaining things and helping people understand things. And so what I recognize now is that the key to my success had nothing to do with technology. Of course, I kind of knew that part. But what I didn't realize is it had everything to do with me being who I am at my core, and knowing how this helped me to build bridges and to break down silos very gently and compassionately, tear down those silos and bring people together so we could move forward, was a gift. And so now that I understand my natural wiring, I really don't feel the need to be something that I'm not. And you know, that's an incredible gift for me. And it also helps me understand that I don't have to be everything to everybody, and that there are people who do things so incredibly well, better than I could ever even possibly dream of doing them. And I seek them out now so that we each get to be in our sweet spots.
And just a note on this, for those of you who are new to Strengths, there's 34 of these talent themes. And we go through these when we're teaching how to facilitate this. So if you're wondering, I don't know anything about this and how am I going to get trained, don't worry. We discussed all of that. But just wanted you to know there's 34 of them if you were wondering. So, okay, maybe we'll go move on. There we go.
Maybe. So the bottom line is that when it comes to why use a strengths-based approach, is it focuses on what works well. And heaven knows, we live in a deficit-based world, and we are so quick to be told what's wrong with us, or to point out what's not right with situations. And it's really refreshing to learn what is oh so right with you, with your community, with your geography, with your assets, etc. And we know that focusing on our talents certainly produces far greater outcomes than trying to fix what's wrong with us. I share this often, probably at least once a day, but the statistics around this to me are just evidence that we are all uniquely made and uniquely wired. The odds of the top 5 results from this assessment, the odds that anyone in the world has the same top 5 as you is 1 in 278,000. Hello. You know, but further beyond that, the odds of anyone in the world having them in the same order as you is 1 in 33.5 million. So when you consider that there's nobody in this world that grew up in your family, on your street, in your neighborhood, with your in your faith community, with your education community, nobody married who you married, etc. There's nobody that brings to life, to love, to family, to business, to your community, what you do in the way that you bring it. And Sherry and I, we call this your unique genius, because we are truly uniquely genius. We've heard it all our lives, or some of us have heard it all our lives. Oh, everybody's special, everybody has their own gifts, etc. We now have scientific proof that that's reality. And there's something very freeing and empowering about knowing what that is for you.
Awesome. Now, for those of you who are just hopping on, I just saw a few more people hopping on. Thank you for joining us, and we will be opening this up for Q&A here in a little bit, and I would love to hear from some of our current facilitators who are on the call, so I'll just plant that seed right now, what you got from the training, you know, what you're hoping to do with it. So just wanted to take a little minute here because I see some people are just hopping on. So welcome, and you can watch the recording for the first part of this. We're just going through some basic information, and then we're going to continue on. So with that said, Gallup teaches actually 5 guiding principles when it comes to strengths and what makes this different than other trainings out there. So a couple of things. This isn't necessarily personality. This is, like Lori said, how you're wired. Right? It's not about what you do. It isn't about, you can have 2 pastors be very successful that have 2 different top 5s. You can have 2 professors be very 2 facilitators have completely different top 5s and be successful, because it's not about what you do. So this isn't a hiring tool. This isn't a personality tool. This is truly how you approach everything. That's what makes it so different. And I've worked with DISC and Myers-Briggs, and it's a great compliment to all of them, but this is the one that I truly believe everybody should start with. And of course, the people we work with, they always come back and say that as well. But there's 5 basic principles that we teach through Gallup, and we believe, and in fact, we really utilize these, and we expect it when people join our team. That they utilize these as well, and we live this. And the first one is their themes are neutral. Now, what does that mean? Well, again, I'm going to talk to those who are not familiar with strengths, and the rest of you, hopefully this will catch a nugget or 2. Since there's 34 of them, we tend to look at them and go, oh, you have to have strategic to be successful. You have to have achiever if you're going to be successful. At least that's what I thought, because those are my top 2. And what I found out is you don't have to. Okay, they're neutral. Again, it's not about what we do. It's just how I may do something and how Lori does something may be totally opposite, but it doesn't mean we can't do it. We can't both achieve it. So they're very neutral. The second one is they're not labels. Now, when you come to the training, you will see table tents, and you'll have a lanyard and some name tags. And so we always say, as we're sitting here with our table tents and lanyards, but it's a really fine line. But what we mean by that is you don't want to go, oh, Lori was talking about her woo, right? Oh, let Lori do all the networking because she has woo. Well, she may not want to go to that networking event. Maybe she doesn't want to go to an IT networking event, right? Just because she has woo doesn't mean she wants to network everywhere. So it really helps you not to make assumptions, which is really, really intertwined with labeling. And then on the other hand, you can't use them as a crutch. So I always use the example, and this is true. I mean, kind of. I'm getting audited. So, I can't call the IRS, and I tried this, not. Okay. But, call the IRS and go, I don't have analytical. It's number 29 on this whole list I just got. So that's why I can't get my paperwork done. Like, it doesn't work that way. So you can't use them you don't want to label somebody something, and you don't want to use it as a crutch. So that's what that means. The next one is lead with positive intent. Now, if you're on this call, I'm sure all of us can think of somebody that, you know, maybe you're not best friends with, maybe you don't particularly like, and when they approach you, you have that, you have that natural instinct, and we all do it, so I'm not judging anybody, but we have that natural instinct to go and lead with a negative connotation, like, here they come. But what if we led with a positive intent and we learned that, I always use this example, there's a gentleman in a city that we were working in, and he had input, and he had all the numbers for the county and all the information for this county, and he wanted to start a tourism center. Now, what he didn't have was relationship building skills, and there's some things he could have done differently. And so, you know, it caused rifts and who's doing what, and he ended up getting booted out of the council, so to speak, or whatever it was, the committee he was on, and he ended up going and started a tourism center anyway. He could not do it. He knew so much information, he had so much background, and with his strengths, the way they lined up, he could not do it, even though the rest of the city didn't want to. Now, looking back, we've talked about it, there were some things he could have done differently, because you don't want to ignore your weaknesses. We teach how to manage them, and so it could have went in a different way. So, but if people would have led with positive intent with him versus, you know, he was just very analytical, and he had, let's just say, his little woo, right? So they just took him wrong. And if they would have just led with positive intent, the city would have been benefiting from it much earlier and sooner. It would have like eliminated a lot of conflict. It's amazing what happens. All right. The next thing then is our differences are our advantages. And I know, just like Lori was talking about cliches before, yes, you've heard this. Differences are our advantages. But when you learn how to be comfortable in your own skin, it's easier to accept somebody else. You know, you've heard ego about, so many of you have heard talked about or heard about ego and emotional intelligence and those types of things. And, you know, the people with the big egos, right? Usually it's because they feel insecure about something. Not always, but that's one reason. But if we can learn to accept who we are, then it's easier to accept others, which then it's easier to accept that differences are what's going to make us awesome, not what should divide us. And then that just means we need one another, folks. If there's over 33.5 million ways, plus, like Lori said, you know, where you grew up and who you're married to, it's probably 100 million. Who knows? Different ways to approach something. Guess what? We need one another. And when we go into communities and we teach this, and all of you, when you come to our training, you learn how to teach this, you'll be standing in the front of the room teaching these 5 guiding principles. And I swear, every time I do it, I get goosebumps. I love teaching. If I teach nothing else in this workshop, it's one of the most powerful things. Definitely. So that's the 5 guiding principles. Now, with that, what's happened, I want like Lori to tell you about everything that's happened this last year and how this webinar and why this webinar is here and why you guys are even here.
I love that. This actually started brewing several years ago through a local initiative to reclaim our school in a community that I was blessed to be a part of. And so Sherry and I began in March with a proof of concept for strong communities and began to just circulate it. You know, what do you think about this? How do you think people would respond to this? And we got such incredible feedback that we continued to refine it. And then in May, we launched a pilot. We did it for the first time, and
75 CEOs.
Yeah, and it was so cool.
Awesome.
An organization invited us to come and be a part of an annual summit that they do, and we got to deliver it for the first time, like you said, to 75 CEOs who were just blown away. And out of that, we got several requests immediately for, can you bring this to this board of directors? Can you bring this to our organization, etc. And so then we got more aggressive in our pursuit of sharing it with people. And it happened very organically. There was, we didn't like establish a marketing plan and we're going to
social media plan.
none of that. None of that. It was just that we had one-on-one conversations which led to more one-on-one conversations and coffee and, and so then we're all having conversations May through June, but we recognized we did several workshops during that time frame. We very quickly recognized that this was going to have the kind of traction where we needed to have a team because we were getting booked up so quickly. It's like we're not going to be able to address all of this opportunity to serve people. We've got to build a team. And so in June, we offered our inaugural certification. And we had 15 people certify in both in Strong Communities and our overarching Strengths Genius curriculum. So, you can imagine how excited we were. And through this, we had been working toward a pilot, an official pilot in West Tennessee with rural chamber execs. And so we launched that pilot in August. It was a 2-part pilot. And we were so fortunate to work with extraordinary people who saw this immediately, secured funding through a grant for almost every rural chamber of commerce executive.
Notes right now. This is how, if you're coming here and you want to get started in your community, we've got this map down, but this is one of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it was seamless, absolutely seamless. So we call this Strong Communities circa 2018 because all of this has occurred just in the last several months. So when I was mentioning that we reached almost every county in West Tennessee through this pilot, and we did it through development districts. Now this is a concept that is what's an organization that is national, and so they're focused on economic development and provide an array of services. And so we had 3 development districts join us in extending this invitation to the chamber execs. So very shortly thereafter, we began to deliver this within leadership organizations, and so you can see how there's a concentration in West Tennessee, but now we've got a little bubbling here in Middle Tennessee and a little bubbling in East Tennessee, and then just through word of mouth. We now have facilitators in multiple states, and continue to attract interest from even more states. But beyond that, we actually just certified our first international facilitator in June, and she's on the call with us, and her name is Joselle, and so we're very excited about being able to serve Latin America. And anticipate that in 2019 we will have facilitators in Australia, the UK, and Canada. So talk about timing. It's just it's an extraordinary time to be a part of something that is having such powerful positive impact. And so you're on this call because you share a passion for impact with us. And so we're excited to introduce this to you. So Sherry, would you want to share with them our 10%?
So why are you here and what is this? So our goal with this movement is to reach 10% of every community, and that's what Gallup their numbers, they have white papers out that they consider community to be a strengths-based community or strengths-based organization when 10% of that community has taken the assessment. And then, of course, we want them to go through a workshop, too, because there's so many people out there who have taken it and never did anything with it. So we've kind of added that piece to it to make it our own. So it's very organic, but our goal is 10%. So think about, like where I live at, it's a county of 33,000. 10%, right, would be 3,300. And we just got started and doing a couple workshops. And so our first goal is 1%, 325 people in the next year. And see, when you approach it that way, but you think about what will happen in our county, it's now it's like one of the bottom 3 poorest in Tennessee instead of the poorest county in Tennessee. And what would happen if we could educate people on what's right with them? We've seen it happen. when people focus on what's right, I know there was one gal in one of the workshops that I was doing on the east side of Tennessee, and she was she's in the manufacturing company. And she's in this room, and we asked people not to display or tell their titles. Now, some of them knew who some of them were because there was a mayor there, and then we have a gal who's one of the manufacturing, laborers in the same room. And you could tell she was a little bit uncomfortable, but by the end of this 3 hours, she was like right there in there with them. And I've seen her ever since. And she's like, hey, Sherry. And she said, I probably wouldn't have ever approached you before. And she goes, you made me feel like I'm just as good as everybody else in this community. And I was like, you are just as good as everybody else in this community. Sorry. So that's just one story. We have story after story after story. But while you're here, our goal is to get to 10%. And Lori and I can't do it. We have we have 42 facilitators now, 43 facilitators now, and nationwide plus Peru. And I mean, that's not enough. We can only handle so many workshops in a month. So we envision having one person in every community being the point to take these out to everyone. So that's a 10% factor that we're going for. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's pretty simple. First of all, I mean, you saw one approach, utilizing the chamber or their development districts there's out there, which we would help you with. But basically, you would have an influencer or influencers. You would present this concept, which we train you on. At the training, we go through scripting, we practice the phone call. It's going to be a day and a half of you're going to know how to go out and do this. But you get them, they will invite up to a minimum of 10 because you don't want, you want that intimacy there. Maximum of 20 because otherwise you lose that intimacy. Mm-hmm. They take this assessment. We have a whole process down. We'll show you the registration page and everything. You actually get a registration page that you get to send out to your community members, and we have a registration form that you fill out to get that rolling. So we have a whole process. Then they come to the workshop itself, they experience it, and then you ask, so who's next? And it's every time, again, where I'm at, I said, who's next? And they're like, I know who's next, and I know who can pay for it. And we've got that set up, and I've got to follow up with them, by the way, this afternoon when I'm driving home. So, and we're finishing that up. But it sounds so simple, but it is. But that's really the process for this. So with that, what's in it for you?
So one of Sherry and I's passionate goals around providing this opportunity to other facilitators is to make it easy. Both of us have built consulting businesses and have been in the workshop delivery business for a few years. and the challenge, we counted up one day, it was like we probably put 6 figures between the two of us into various certifications. You have a passion for a topic and you go and you go to certify, and you come back with a plethora of content, but you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to create a business out of it, but you've got some great stuff. If only you had somebody to talk to about it. And so our experience has been that, you can really just work tirelessly to put all of the pieces together and never really get to do what you love to do. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to make this turnkey. And we feel like we've made it really, really simple. And that's the feedback we're getting from our facilitators too. And so this is what it looks like. So the client investment is $3,333. Whether they have the minimum of 10 or whether they have 20, it's $3,333. Our facilitators are compensated $1,000 for the 3-hour session. And we make a charitable contribution of $333 to the not-for-profit of the choice of the organization. Now, what makes this so crazy wonderful is the fact that it does apply to all types of communities, but what it includes. We do a customized registration page for the workshop. So as a facilitator, if you schedule a workshop, We send the invoice to the client. You don't have to get involved in that piece. We ask that you complete a registration form that Sherry mentioned that gives us all of the data that we need to build this registration page for you. We provide a template for you to share.
By the way, it's very similar to the registration page that you guys use to sign up for this. So when you register for this, you would have your own for your community workshop.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll get a real good look and feel of what your client sees. So we have templates available for your client to send to their participants. We always recommend that, it's all the little things that make the difference, right? So you want that invitation to come from somebody they know. And then we provide all of the worksheets, the customized reports, the table tents, the name badges, the participant certificates. And once we have all that data that you provide us on the registration form, then all the administration is done on our side of the house. And then you just tell us whether you want your materials delivered to your location or to the workshop location. So we've really made it just really simple on the facilitator's end, and we're excited about that.
It worked. We just did it.
Yeah.
It was nice just getting a box. Everything was in there. And we were like, oh, this is kind of cool, So
Yes, definitely. So we don't want our facilitators spending their life at a printer trying to get things sorted out and, which one applies and so on and so forth. There's a note here that says, if needed, this workshop can accommodate 10 additional participants, and in which case we do charge an additional licensing fee, materials fee for each additional person. We really like for you to talk to us about that situation, because ideally the 20 person is the one, but sometimes you just have 3 or 4 more that you got to accommodate, and we want to help you do that.
There's a county that has 24 county commissioners. All right, squeeze them in.
So, and then the thing that we, you don't know us well, but if you join our team, you'll get to know that we love giving back. And so one of the things that we do for all participants within Strong Communities workshops, for not just ours, but for all our facilitators, we give the gift of a 6-month membership to our mentorship platform called strengthsgenius.coach, and has all just an unimaginable number of strengths-based resources for people to continue their journey, either individually, as a community, as a team, etc. But in addition, we have a partnership with John Maxwell, and so we're able to deliver courses on his books. So we have quite the library out there at this point.
Go to strengthsgenius.coach right now. You won't be able to get into it, but you can see how it's set up. And that's also where all our facilitator materials that Lori was just talking about, the registration form, the deck, all of those types of things you'll have access to. That's where all our facilitators go as well. So go there and take a peek at it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Awesome. And we're going to open this up again for questions. So be writing your questions down, and we'll be happy to answer those in here in a second. So, okay, so with that, I am going to escape out of here real quick, because we want to take you to getcertified.coach. So if you have your laptop up, this might be a good time for you to go to getcertified.coach. This is where you can find out even more of what's included in the facilitation itself. So this is where you can register, but we wanted, before we even do that, we wanted to show you, first of all, you can see some videos on here of a few people who've gone through our workshops and what they've experienced. So this is where you would register and look for more information. But a few things we wanted to point out to you on this site are exactly everything that you'll get. Couple of things. It will be held in the next certification. It's for Strong Communities certification only. You would become a certified Strong Communities facilitator. We're going to be doing it at the Wells Fire Center in Nashville. If you haven't been there, it is fabulous. We've held a couple of our certification classes there, and It's just wonderful. So any of you that are on the call that are current facilitators, if you want to talk about the center, feel welcome. We have a link here to that as well. You can go there and see the link and see what they're saying. Then here's everything that's included. So you get the customized registration page that Lori talked about. You get, oh, by the way, you get a code. You get the StrengthsFinder code. It's $20. That's included. So it's not for free, right? So people will ask you that though, just so you know. But it's $20 and that's included in that price for 20 people. And the bonus, okay, so here we get to tell, I love telling people this. So if you have a workshop of 20 people and 18, only 18 register, that's 2 codes left over. What we do is we let our facilitators keep those codes. Now you've got a couple freebies that you can give to maybe a couple other influencers in the community that may be a good prospect to host a workshop for the community. So it includes all the codes, customized materials for that workshop, name tags, table tents, again, everything that you would need. Now it does not include obviously the location, the AV. We walk you through how to get those things paid for or how to get those things sponsored. And there's lots of different ways to do that. So it's the workshop materials itself. So did want to clarify that. Now, the other thing you're going to get is we have a launch strategy for you. You will leave with a launch strategy. You'll leave with a plan of who to identify. One of the biggest things that facilitators, especially new facilitators or seasoned facilitators, they'll say, I'm not a salesperson. I don't know how to sell. Oh, I love that when people say that because, do you like to be sold? And I'll unmute everybody. No, we'll talk about it. Right? Nobody wants to be sold, but boy, I want to buy. And when I buy something, I want to feel good about it. When I want to, so we teach you how to share what it is that you're doing. But I don't think I've ever sold a Strong Communities workshop. I shared with people like, here's what's going to happen to our community. Do you want this? Here's what's happening in West Tennessee. Here's what's happening in, Kentucky. Here's what's happening here. So when you share that, you're not selling, but I'll get off my soapbox. Okay. So anyway, we help you develop your own personal talking points and come up with your own stories, even if you haven't participated. Now, by the way, the first thing you do on Monday at 1 o'clock is we head right into the workshop. You experience the whole workshop as if you were just coming to a Strong Communities workshop because we want you to experience it. So don't think you have to go to a workshop before you decide. If you're a facilitator, you already know if this is going to be good for you or not. But you get to experience the workshop. Now, everything else is on here. It includes Wall of Talents posters. That's an original that Lori and I created. And you get a poster, an 8.5 by 11 poster of all the wall, every theme. You get to go home with those. You get 2 team activity boards that are foam boards that we utilize, and it's a scenario that we do. There's branded gifts that we give out. There's communication templates. There's emails, a trifold marketing brochure that you get. You get ongoing mentorship yourself, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Also, while you're there, that first evening, we have a cocktail hour that's included. We're going to invite our current facilitators in to even audit and come be part of this. So you'll get their knowledge and wisdom. And then lunch is provided as well on the second day. So there's really nothing you have to worry about except get your hotel and get there. And we want to see you there. So lunch is provided and then just the networking. It's amazing. So you can go to getcertified.coach to see everything that is available. Now, I will tell you, there is limited seats. This is not made for 100 people. That's not our goal to have, 100 people in a room getting certified. We're not one of those certification programs. It's 30 people. If there's a few extra, we might make room for them. We'll see how that goes. But here's what you can do. Now, here's the thing. There is 2 certifications. But do you want to talk about the Strong Communities one and get us started on that?
Well, sure. I'd be happy to.
So the Strong Community Certification, again, is the 2-day live that starts at 1 p.m. on Monday. We'll start on January 28th, and we'll wrap up on Tuesday evening, probably in the neighborhood of 4:30. We're offering over $3,500 in value, but if you pay in full at $24.97, then we just love doing the give back. So we're excited to offer that to you at that price. We also realize that we all work within budgets, right? And so we're offering a couple of plans, payment plans. One is a 2-payment plan with just equal payments of $1,248.50, or 3 installments. You can make one now, and then the other 2 will be drafted in 30-day increments. So and we want to be really transparent too, because we keep this to a small number, and seating is limited. If you should have an unanticipated circumstance that precludes you attending, then we are happy to apply your investment toward the next certification. And also we want you to be aware that we're very, very focused on the safety of your information, and work with secure servers, etc. So, is there anything
you can get turnkey? You'll get your investment back in 3 workshops, less than 3 workshops. There's very few things out there that set you up that you don't have to go create the content from content you've gotten. So, and we've both been down that road. Now, this is where you become a Strong Communities certified facilitator. You get to use that logo. You'll be that person in your community. We're not going to go deep into this next piece. Excuse me. But we do want to let you know, because we always get this question, and there's actually another certification, and it is on our umbrella curriculum, as Lori said, and it's called the Strengths Genius curriculum. And everything that's included in that it does include 3 more workshops. So you get the deck for it, the facilitator guides, the participant guides. But inevitably, when you're in one of these Strong Communities workshops, what happens is somebody from an organization will say, hey, can you come teach this to my team? And the Strong Communities workshop is really meant to be a surface level, like it's to get to the masses. We want to impact change, and we just want to get out to as many people as we can. But there's going to be those who want to go deep with it and really want to elevate their team or their organization. So we have a curriculum, and this is actually the curriculum we started with. So we wanted to talk about it today. Don't want to go deep into it. This isn't, high pressure sales or anything like that. But people always ask us, how do I get that? So again, this is all listed on getcertified.coach. It's 3 more workshops, and you can see what they are. Everything's included. Now that does require you to come back to Nashville a second time. That'll be June 19th through the 21st. That is a 2.5 day. It's awesome, and you get little swag like this. And, it is wonderful. But again, you get everything. You'll get another set of Wall of Talents, so you can even give that away as a gift. You'll get 4 domains activities posters. That's a whole nother activity you get. Again, everything that you would need to do additional workshops is in here. And then, of course, you get a couple bonuses. And this is with Strong Communities certification and Strengths Genius, either one. You get 6 months. You get forever, as long as you're certified. And we just, we every couple of years, we don't charge you, but we'll do maybe a little test. We'll send some questions out. We ask you if you've been leaning in at all. Of course, we can see who's been in Strengths Genius Coach. But you get mentorship. We do, one of the things, both of us in the past, is that, again, you go to these things, and then what? And there's nobody there, and then they want you to buy coaching, and well, again, we did not want that. And so we have a mentorship coaching call every other week for all our facilitators. This week we're doing this instead of the mentorship call, but in 2 weeks we will have another mentorship call. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about different, a few of the facilitators are meeting with some high-level influencers and what happened during those. So we share best practices and techniques, and we're all just here to help each other. It's not a competition, but you get free coaching, I guess, group coaching included with your certifications. That just doesn't happen in the marketplace. So we're really proud. And then the other thing is we want every single one of our facilitators will get a call with either Lori or myself, because when you leave there, we know your brain will be swimming, and we want to help you organize those thoughts and stay focused on what it is and let you get home and get settled, and get back in your routine a little bit. We hope you're getting a new routine, but we'll set up a call and just talk through what it is you're thinking for your community. So anyway, so with that, that is included in here, and you can see there's payment plans for this as well. It's normally $8,500. When you do both of them, I will tell you, so normally that one's $3,000, but when you do both of them together and you pay for them up front or on a payment plan up front, you get both certifications for $5,000. So, just it's out there. Go look at it. If you have some questions, we're going to stay on here afterwards. Again, we don't want to go too deep. And then again, if you want one, and maybe you don't want strong communities, maybe you just want the deep dive organizational more corporate work. You know what? Sign up for that one instead. That's cool. We just our hearts are really with the strong communities. So. But that's all on getcertified.coach. So lots of options there. It looks like, oh my goodness. So just remember this: strong communities certification, strength genius certification, more of the corporate organizational work, or you can do both. So it's really that simple, but a lot's included. So with that, let's see. There was a few other things we were gonna probably have. We can give them a. Because you guys are here, you want to tell them? Okay.
So, we love to honor people who take action on, and so for those of you who are ready to claim a seat, then we want to invite you to utilize a I was here for the live call coupon, if you will, and we'll reduce your investment by $200. We're going to make that available until noon on Tuesday. That's 11/6, and that's election day. And so, we want you to make your voice count in our communities. and we would love to support you in pursuing your goals.
Now, here's the thing. This is a little complicated, and we apologize. But there was no other way to do it, so just write these down, okay? There's codes. This is only good, like she said, through noon on Tuesday. If you choose to do the Strong Community Certification only and want the $200 off, which I don't know why you wouldn't, here's what you want to enter in when you purchase that. It's the small letter S, like Sam, small letter cat, like cat, or small letter C, like cat, and the small letter cat, small letter C, like cat, and 200, so SC200, and that's your code. It'll take $200 off. It'll take it off if you do the 3-pay. It'll just divide it into 3 segments for you. We're not going to do it comes off the last payment. No, it'll just evenly take it off. If you decide to do Strengths Genius only, and you'll type in S as in Sam, G as in Genius, 200. And if you decide you want both certifications, you already know that, and you're saving $500 then versus doing one and then paying for the other one. You'll save $500. It's SCG, so Sam, Cat, Genius. Sounds like that. That sounds like a mnemonic. That's one of our activities that we do in Strength Genius 1. SCG 200. So you can get your $200 off any of the certifications, and it'll apply to all the payments. Awesome. We did pretty good.
I was thinking we're doing pretty well on time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Let's go. We're going to open this up and unmute everybody, I think. And if you're muted, then you'll have to unmute yourself as well. And if whatever questions you have, so you're all unmuted. So, yeah, what questions do you have, or are you a facilitator and, you know, want to speak up and say, hey, that was the best thing ever? Now, don't all talk at the same time. Now, we know there's questions out there.
So, Joe, I have a question. It's
Thank you,
Joe.
Joe.
I have a quick question. So I love that you guys are separating it and doing this out. And it looks to me, so I just want to make sure I'm recapping this right. So you're doing the strong communities in January,
Yes.
and then again in June, and then in June, you're doing the Strengths Genius.
Correct.
So separately. So you'd have to travel for both of them in order
Correct.
to do both of them. Is there a plan in the future to do like both of them together at the same time, so those people who have to travel only have to travel once?
So interesting question. We used to do that. It's just too much. And we really, it just ends up being too much. And I had a mentor one time tell me, Sherry, you squeeze too much in, you squeeze your audience out. And that was just a speaking training. And it's the same thing when we're training you. It sounds convenient, but we want you to be good. And we want you to
I agree. I get it. I get it.
And so now what we've done is we really want to hone in on the strong communities training and make sure people leave knowing how to talk to influencers and bring it to their community, be successful with that. By the time they start getting asked to do other workshops, they'll come get trained on that. They'll set the date and they'll be ready. And they'll be comfortable with it and they won't be panicking. So great question.
And two, just having a single focus after that first certification is going to give facilitators quick wins. We want people to have success and build on those wins consecutively. So that's another part of that strategy. Great question, Joe. Thanks, Brad.
Okay. No, great. It's questions I get too, so I just want to throw them out there as I'm getting them. Because the other question I get is, will it ever be virtual? Will there ever be a virtual training? I know forgive my futuristic, but I get the question, so.
Yeah. Well,
hopefully someday.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Do what?
I said I'm good with someday.
Yeah. That is certainly our intention. Having experienced the workshop, you can appreciate how elaborate that technical experience would have to be.
Absolutely.
So certainly our intention, to be paperless and to be able to certify people virtually.
You know what's interesting? I was just watching a video on LinkedIn the other day about the future of success and connecting with people. And I can't remember who it was, but he was a high, big name around the world. And he was talking, actually, I think he was with LinkedIn. That's what he was, an executive of LinkedIn. And he was talking about how we're going so virtual. And I believe this too, that the need for soft skills is getting higher and higher and higher, not less. We need them more than ever before. So to learn soft skills, you can't learn those virtually. You got to be here to be able to hug it. No, we don't. Kind of. But, we have fun. And you've got to be able to learn how to talk to people and connect with people because it's about people. And learning about people virtually, you're cutting off half of that learning experience. So that's
absolutely.
That to mind. So you guys are at the right place at the right time in the cycle of, everything. And soft skills are so needed right now. Job security is out there, folks. Great. By the way, if you are where you can't talk, you can type it in chat. We have the chat box up as well. Man, we must just be really good. There you go. Can you review the prices again? Sure, we can. Absolutely. Let me go right over there. Okay, so yes, we went over them kind of quick. So you can go to getcertified.coach so you can see them yourselves. The Strong Communities certification. So you'll be the certified strong communities facilitator in your area or worldwide. We don't have territories. Is $24.97. And then if you want to take payment plans, you can. The Strengths Genius certification where you get the additional 3 workshops, the deck, everything that goes with that is $3,000 by itself. If you do both of them together, yes, if you do both of them together instead of $5,500, it's $5,000. So you get a $500 discount. So you can have strong community certification for $2,500, $2,497, Strengths Genius for $3,000, or both of them for $5,000. So the both is in the middle of the page, and down at the very bottom is either or. Does that help? Yes, yes. We will be sending the recording out for everybody who's been registered. We're not going to send this out to the masses. Now, if you have somebody that you want to send this to, so if you have a friend that you want to come with you, send this to them. They can take advantage of the coupon as well, but we're not going to send it out to anybody other than that was on the registration or the people that we personally know. But you can feel free for being on this. Send it to your friends, absolutely, and we'll be sending that out probably tomorrow morning. We will also send with that a Strong Communities overview flyer that we use when we go out and talk to community influencers, and we'll send along that flyer that shows how the independent contractor pay and how you get paid for those. Now the Strengths Genius, I'll go in that a little bit. That's a little bit different pay. We just have a small licensing fee, and then you handle the printing and you do everything, and we show you how to do it, but you make more money. So just a little bit clearer, to give you a little bit of clarity on that. Can you see that, Lori? Is there another one?
Okay, so this is a request for confirmation. The discount code is $200 for each and $400 if I sign up for both. So total of $4,600 due for both.
No, it's a $200. It's $200 off whichever one, because when you do both, we're already giving you $500. Now you'll get an additional $200. Good question. So it's SC 200 for Strong Communities, SG 200 for Strengths Genius only. If you do both, we automatically put 500 on there. You'll get another 200. SCG 200. Thank you for asking that question.
Yes, and you are correct. $4,800 for both with the $200 coupon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no interest on your payment plan if you decide to do it. Just saying. You go out there. I know I have friends that have certifications. There's interest rate on them. We're not doing that to you. So good questions. You guys are good. In Nashville, it's fun. It's easy to get to. Any other questions?
I want to just ask if I think we have a couple of our most recent graduates from our certification training that was held in Jackson, Tennessee in September. Would any of you be open to sharing what your experience was and how things are going for you, or what your plans are with the curriculum? Somebody's rustling.
What did the training do for you?
Did you just say my name's Sherry?
Anybody of our facilitators?
I saw Mark unmute himself. I think he's ready to go.
I'm trying to get on here. I can see. There we go.
Hi, Mark.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Actually, Jana's not here to elaborate. She's been the one who's done the most interfacing with some of the other people. But the facilitation training was great. Our post workshops with, not workshops, but counseling, coaching sessions with Joe have been great. And we're ready to really start cutting our teeth with this, to start some workshops. And we're going to do the strong coffees to start with, just grow organically in the area.
Great.
We didn't even talk about that. We should talk about that a little bit. You want to talk about strong coffees real quick?
Yeah. When Mark is finished, we'll share a little bit more about that.
No, I'm done.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. No problem.
So we have a practice of modeling whatever we teach. And so at the last certification, we modeled a Strong Coffee event, and where we invited local leaders to come and just hear a bit about this program. And so you heard me mention early on that this business has grown based on individual one-on-one conversations and coffee. And so this is an extension of that. Once you've shared what you're doing, what your experience with Strong Communities is with a handful of people, then we always suggest that you ask that person, who needs to know about this? Who do you know that we need to know that can help us impact change in this community? And so this is an opportunity for those that you have connected with to reach into their circle of influence and invite people to come and learn more. So we have a presentation deck that you can utilize. If it's more informal, then we have tools that you can utilize just to walk through with a small group of people around a kitchen table. And when we did this in Jackson, I want to say we had probably 20 guests, I would say, along with our facilitators. And before we left that meeting, we had, was it 3 or 4? I thought, but a minimum of 3. These leaders had come up to us and said, we need to do this. How do we get started? And that's pretty powerful. So Mark and his beautiful bride are in the Memphis market and are among our first facilitators there, and that is fertile ground for Strong Communities. So we're excited about you moving forward with those coffees, and look forward to being a part of those.
Thank you, Mark, by the way.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there any other questions, or do we have a facilitator that would want to talk about their experience and what they thought was, to them, the best part, what's helped them in their business, or maybe you're internal, maybe you're in HR and you're internal and you want to take something like this internally, you can do that as well.
Well, I'll say a couple of words, not to dominate conversation, but having just gone through it, and I just want to congratulate you guys on taking a complex or what can be a very complex program and understanding, and have boiled it down and distilled it into something incredibly simple so that people can latch onto it and love it, but also in addition to really helping others build their own community and build their own sales. Because, with what I do in branding, and I work with a lot of coaches helping them build their business, one of the biggest pain points when you're by yourself, whether you're a coach or building a facilitation business, is that fear of sales. And really, like you said, Sherry, you don't ever sell anything because you just talk about something you believe in and what you love, and it creates a natural sales funnel. So I just want to compliment you guys on having created a product that I think is highly beneficial on multiple levels. And I am very grateful to be a part of the community.
Thank you, Joe.
So excited to have you as a part of our team.
Hey, we want all of our pain and learning in the past. And it's just so funny because she was thinking the same thing. Like, a lot of people don't know, Lori had built relationship architects for about 7 years, almost 8 now. And then I was doing my own leadership training on the other side of the state, and traveling around, and sold that. But we both had the same vision, and it was a fluke thing. We believe it was a divinely paved path that we were put together, and but we both understand keeping things simple, and we both have a heart to help other people not go through, like what Lori said, 6 figures of spending money so that we could, to figure it out. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that way. We've already made those kind of learning. We'll say learning opportunities.
Paying forward.
Yeah. It's been on our hearts to do this, and yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. But on that right there, from the sound. Yeah, that's true.
Well, it sounds to me like we're at 3:13. We committed to an hour and 15-minute call, and if anybody has a burning desire to share something, we invite you to speak up or raise your hand or type us a chat real quick and we'll cover whatever. But and we'll stay on for a few minutes. For those of you who may not be comfortable speaking to an audience across the globe, candidly, then just sit tight. We'll stay and have a more intimate conversation with you. You can always reach us personally. Sherry's email address is Sherry, SHARI, at relationshiparchitects.coach, and mine is Lori at relationshiparchitects.coach, and that's LORI. We would welcome your emails. We will be in communication with you with the resources that we committed to sharing with you. And we no matter whether you become a part of our team or not, we just applaud that you're here and that you have interest in impacting the world in a positive way, and we're grateful for the time you spent with us today. So everybody have a great weekend.
Bye, guys. Thanks for your time. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
We'll stay on. You're welcome. And oh, everybody's hopping off. Okay. Private ones? No. Okay. Yeah. Whoa. Yep, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to end the meeting.